Okay, so there's many different types of leukemia. What type of leukemia did you have?
I had the chronic myelocytic leukemia.
Okay. Did you notice that it worsened really quickly, or did it go unnoticed for a while?
No, it was diagnosed kind of quick within 4 months of when I was feeling the symptoms.
Okay. And did you receive immediate treatment right when they knew that you had leukemia?
Yes, the doctor gave me an option. Told me I could have interferon, which is an intravenous treatment. It would only give me 2.5 years. Or I could have a bone marrow transplant. But he asked me, are you a gambler? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, I got to be honest with you because this was done 21 or 2 years ago, and it wasn't common. He said 100 people will have a bone marrow transplant. 40 of them will survive it, and 20 of that 40 will die within a year. So I only had a 20% chance. But because of my kids, I couldn't take the chance of just having 2.5 years. They were too young. So I went for it. And I was diagnosed in September, and my brother, who took care of all the arrangements and getting everyone in my family tested, I was lucky to have 9 brothers and sisters. I got one perfect match out of it, and he quick made the arrangements at Johns Hopkins to have the transplant, and I went down in January and had the bone marrow transplant February 2nd. My one brother was a perfect match.
Okay. Were there any types of treatment that you couldn't receive because, like, based on the type of leukemia that you had? Like chemotherapy, were you allowed to have that or no?
I had full body radiation, and I had the highest doses of chemotherapy. They do that before the transplant for 4 days before the transplant. And on the 5th day, they gave me my brother's marrow.
Okay.
And there was a big chance also of graft versus host disease. Even though my brother was a perfect match, my body could have rejected his marrow. So, and I did get a little bit of that, but luckily I came through
it. Okay. How did it impact your family? Was your brother reluctant or scared to give the transplant, or?
No, he was very willing.
Okay.
When we found out he was a match, I called him and I told him he was a match. He said, when do you want to go? So that was very comforting.
And how about after the surgery? How was your recovery, and was anything different afterwards? Did you recover really quickly?
No, it takes a while. I had to stay there for 3 months. I was in the hospital for 1 month, and then I had to be within a mile of the hospital because every day you have to go to a center at the hospital that's called IPOP, and you have to get your blood checked. And I had to get transfusions when my blood would go low. Your platelets end up going low a lot of times, and you had to be checked every day, 7 days a week at the hospital.
So that interfered, like you couldn't be at home and be with your kids, right?
No.
Okay. Did they visit you, or did you see them?
I lost all my hair during my transplant, and I didn't want them to see me that way. So I let them come down on Easter. And that was the first time they were there, but I wore a wig and they didn't know anything. And the hospital had suggested that I tell them that my illness was like a faucet that was on and there's water running from it. And then in the hospital because they're going to try to close that faucet. But I wouldn't. I couldn't tell them. And I just said I had to depend on the people that loved me to take care of it if something happened to me.
When did you eventually tell your kids?
What I did was they thought I was away working. Because at the time, I had a marketing company and I used to travel a lot, but never for 3 months at a time. So they thought I was working. And when they used to call me, I was in the hospital. And I'd say, honey, hold on, I have a client here, or hold on, someone just walked in my office. So they never ended up knowing that. When I came home, I ended up telling them, but I still never told them I had leukemia. I told them that I had a rash on my head that was causing me a problem, and they had to shave my head to put medicine to get rid of the problem, because I couldn't wear a wig 24 hours a day, so they had to know something. And my daughter just cried and cried and cried and cried when she saw me without my hair. But my son said, who was younger, he said, Mom, you're beautiful anyway. Don't worry about it. So that's when I told them.
Can you stop that one?